Hey Capricorn, welcome to your first half of February general reading. With all readings, if it doesn't resonate, leave it behind. Go ahead and check out your sun, moon, rising, and Venus signs. Um, you know, because this is general. So, the message is for a general population. If you want something more personalized, there's a link below to schedule a one-on-one with me. If it does resonate, you're loving my work, you want to, share a little love, donation information is below, as well as information about the cards that I'm using in this reading. So you can check them out, play with them, purchase them, whatever you'd like. If you have questions about them, let me know. There's a couple that I'm actually pretty new to and having a lot of fun reading with. But without further ado, let us get into your reading. Okay. Something about breathing. I had to take that nice deep breath. Maybe having to listen to something too, being able to receive. Maybe you've been really constricted, really restricted in what you're allowing yourself to receive here, and it's something that you could use in order to sustain yourself, in order to feel more vitality, to feel more awake. Perhaps you've been a little bit tired, and because you're resisting something that could be yours. Have to burp. Excuse me. I feel like there's a lot of healing going on, some energy that's moving around. But we'll see what this reading entails. So we have the 10 of Wands reverse. There's something that you're letting go of, but maybe an ending that you're really resisting, because you don't really see the other side of it. There's a lot of hard work that you've put in, and perhaps it's really sorrowful to have to let some of these things go, or perhaps it's just like it really hasn't provided you with the type of shelter, the type of security, the type of comfort that you'd hope for. You've kind of taken yourself on a merry-go-round, on a whirlwind, on a trip without really arriving any place, and it's like, dang it, dang it. I did all this moving around for nothing. I did all this work and this action for nothing. But then here we have the World card. It's like, no, you completed something. There were some things that you had to learn, some things you had to go through again in order to recognize some type of greater pattern, some type of greater confluence in terms of things. Really learning how to protect your energy, learning how to guard what's yours, focusing mainly on to put you in a place where now you can focus on the present instead of constantly being distracted or allowing yourself to move in ways that are unproductive in some way. Perhaps you've been really unkind or have moved in ways because you were lacking the ability to receive some type of kindness, and now it's like, it's interesting because it's like there's a whistle in their hand, and it's like waiting to blow the whistle, right? To either get things going or to show the warning, like, hey, it's time, let's go. There's something bigger. You're able to really be on top of this, and it's like they're sitting there waiting to just blow this whistle, for you to get going, for you to wake up, to call you, to something new, to call you to move on to something better. We have this Page of Wands reverse because it's like perhaps you're just so stuck on whatever it was that didn't come into fruition. You're only seeing like, okay, what's in it for me? I feel like I'm walking blindly through this, having to feel my way through this, and it doesn't feel good. I feel like, it's like no matter what type of strategy or practical measures that you're taking, it's just not really giving you what you'd hoped out of it. And so now you're kind of in this stalemate. It's like, well, maybe this is prompting you to move differently, to have more confidence in what you have to offer, and not really try to do it in a way that feels like you're having to start from scratch all over again. Maybe instead of starting from scratch, what if you just keep going? What if you realize the things that are good about what you're doing, and to move quickly on those, to allow yourself to work from a place of being a little bit more clever, not feeling like you've encountered bad luck. You've just figured out what hasn't worked, what doesn't work for you. We have the King of Wands underneath it, and it's like you're resisting really taking bold action. It's like you're allowing yourself to stay in this one place you don't have to be in anymore. It's like, why would you think that you're this way when you're really like this? And it's like, oh man, it's like everything but the Knight of Wands kind of popped up. So it's like, that's interesting. I feel like it's more mature, and you're able to move in more mature ways. You're not having to scramble so much. Maybe, and it's like, you got to stop scrambling, stay still, and then the world will call upon you. Then we have the Temperance card reversed. Stay still, stay true to your beliefs. You don't have to keep trying to fix things constantly. You keep trying to make things work, but in the end you're confusing yourself because you keep switching things up. You don't even remember the, like, it's like making a recipe from scratch over and over, but not ever thinking that it's good enough, and you're trying to chase that first time you made it because you never really wrote it down, because you're always chasing something else, chasing. That mutable energy, even though you're a very earthy sign. Maybe you have some Sagittarius in your chart, some type of a lot of fire in your chart perhaps. We have the Two of Swords next, and so it's like, you're making a decision to be like, all right, I'm going to dedicate myself to this. But it won't be until like maybe after the full moon that you're starting to reap the rewards of it, or starting to feel like you've moved away from the challenge and things are actually moving forward, and that there's some victory, there's some, flag that you can hold up. We have the Six of Cups. You're moving away from the past in some form or fashion, I think, through this decision, or through this choice, through this, like, I don't know, maybe you're kind of resisting it. I don't know, because it holds some type of beliefs. But you have the Star card here. It's like you're moving in the right direction. You're making headway by moving away from the past and not allowing it to influence you, and being able to just continue creating without concern for what hasn't occurred, without concern for all the work you've already done, and having to put that in your ledger and feeling like you haven't been compensated for that. Just starting fresh, just knowing that you are nothing that you put out isn't going to be returned to you. It's going to be returned to you, and you just wanted something so big you had to invest a lot into it, and that's okay. Just don't be mad when sometimes you have to put in a big down payment, a big energetic down payment on something, right? All right, Ten of Wands, Three of Swords. Yeah, feeling sorrow about all the hard work that feels like it was lost. It feels like it was for naught, right? Wanting to kind of separate from all of it, maybe start fresh, just kind of this destructive attitude. And then here we have the World card with, I almost want to say it's kind of like the World card. It's number 77. That feels really good. This is something that was divinely meant to happen. You're just kind of, it's just waiting on you to catch up, and to be willing to receive this ending, to be willing to come into this space whole and not feeling like you're missing anything, or that, you left something behind, to gather up all your power, and to wait for that call. We have the Ace of Swords with the Page of Wands reversed, and so there's some type of like protection here. You didn't really protect yourself. You weren't really allowing yourself to fight for anything. It was like you just put your nose down and you like did all this work, but you weren't really defending of it. You weren't really open to receiving any messages, because you were so on the defensive. It's like your team kind of just stepped out of the way. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. We have the Hierophant with the Queen of Wands, and so it's like, feel confident in like the wisdom you have to share. There's some type of passing on, some type of higher knowledge, higher power that you are able to really channel and to bring forth. There's something very unique and artistic in the ways, very majestic, honestly, about the ways in which you move. And it feels something that's like kind of like future past stuff. It feels ancient, but it also feels very new, very futuristic. In some way. It's interesting. It's almost like things with time, like moving through time. It's very interesting. And then we have the Strength card with Temperance. It's like you got to really just kind of like stick to your guns and integrate some of this stuff, and not keep throwing things out, trying to change stuff and reinvent things consistently. Just integrate what you have, or else you're going to end up regressing or making like really bastardized versions of what was working. So like, don't try to change too much, And we have the Four of Cups reversed with the Two of Swords. And so it's like, you're gonna have to let something go. You know, I feel like there may be certain opportunities that just don't fit you. They may be a distraction, may not be right. It's just like people that just don't know you anymore, trying to offer you something in order to kind of like withhold and keep you held back in some way. They may not be consciously doing this, but I feel like people sense what you're onto and are trying to kind of step in and get some of that out of you. So we have the Six of Cups reversed and the Two of Swords. So it's like, yeah, deciding to move away from the past and really not getting caught up in it, you know, really protecting yourself on all sides. Really, you know, not being defensive, but just making sure that you're very secure where you are, so you don't end up easily being swayed by, you know, whatever is being offered, even if it does seem like it's love. It's like someone trying to wrangle you or herd you into something that feels very familiar, right? And so we have this Knight of Swords and the Star card, and it's like, you know, there's certain messages, ideas coming in, and having to be really focused and steadfast, very assertive about them. And it could be stuff that's visual. It could be coming in maybe through animals. It could be something that feels really ancient, feels very aligned, but it's something that it might be a mystery to you at first, and you're kind of having to sit with it and observe it and kind of hold on taking any action until you're able to really remove yourself from get past these situations where you have to protect yourself. It's like people are really kind of keeping an eye on you to some degree, and you know, you don't want to get caught up in all that. It's gonna have to come with time. You're gonna have to get to a clear space before you can move forward with it. Yeah, because then we have the Six of Wands reversed with these two parallel nails, which is very interesting. I almost feel like stuff will come to you, but it's like you gotta really feel secure in yourself, not talk too much about your victories. I think you're gonna have to move very quietly and just let your work speak for itself. Don't say too much. Don't say too much. Don't get too attached. Don't try to nail anything down too heavily, you know, outside of you. It's, yeah, pay attention. Be loyal to yourself. Sing and dance together and be joyous. And I feel like this is you and like kind of your shadow self. You know, the ways in which you resisted kind of moving in the world, or who you thought you had to be. Now you're able to kind of have fun with it. All right. Only when you are empty are you at standstill and balanced. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to read these real quick, and then that'll wrap up our reading. Okay. Sing and dance together and be joyous. Sing and dance together and be joyous, but let each one of you be alone. Even as the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music, give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping. For only the hand of life can contain your hearts. And stand together, yet not too near together. For the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow. So this is like about being independent, being stable in oneself in order to hold something much bigger. In order to bring harmony to something much bigger. Something, again, this world card, just being on top of the world. I love it. All right, 14. Okay. Only when you are empty are you at standstill and balanced. Some of you say, joy is greater than sorrow, and others say, nay, sorrow is the greater. But I say unto you, they are inseparable. Together they come, and when one sits alone with you at your board, remember that the other is asleep upon your bed. Verily, you are suspended like scales between your sorrow and your joy. Only when you are empty are you at standstill and balance. When the treasure keeper lifts you to weigh his gold and his silver, needs must your joy or your sorrow rise or fall. So this reminds me of that Ten of Wands energy. You may feel like you lost a lot, but be happy with the slate that is being cleaned. For if you're willing to release and not carry all of that resentment or remembrance of all of that which you've done before, you're better able to move forward and to be a clear channel for whatever information is about to come in for you that you will need to protect, that you will need to carry out. And this is your job alone. So be willing to uphold that. I feel like now that you've had all these really heavy planets out of your sign, you're able to really get clear, and you're entering a new era of self, of existence, of being. And so honor that, and do not try to hold on to anything that once was. All of that challenge served a purpose, but it is not something that really makes you who you are in this present. It's not how you should be defining yourself in this present moment and what you deserve. So that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, check the description below for information about the cards, how to donate if this reading resonated with you, and how to book a one-on-one reading if you'd like something a little more personal.